So my name is Melanie Lalonde, and I am the Wawatay Program Development Specialist. And I think it's really important that I share the path of how I got to where I am, and not for me, but to kind of show students how students may have different paths through their academic journeys, and to give credit where credit is actually due during this journey, and to show the power of mentorship. And kind of help change the narrative of how we gauge success at the post-secondary level, because we've been talking a lot about how we are going to be able to gauge success in this pilot project that I'm working in that we're hoping to turn into a program. It took me a really long time to get through my undergraduate degree programs because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And for the first few years after my son was born, I switched to being a part-time student and I worked part-time. This was partly because of childcare and partly because I had done so poorly in my studies during my first year that I needed to retake most of my introductory courses. And I did retake some, the ones that I needed anyways, but some still haunt me as F's and D's on my transcript, and this really hurt me later. So the only thing that really mattered to me at this point was not my GPA. It wasn't grades. It wasn't anything. It was just not to give up and to show my son that you can do absolutely anything that you put your mind to. And I just wanted him to be proud of his mom, give him someone to look up to. So he was actually my drive going through university. He's what actually kept me going, my motivation. I only became a full-time student once my son was accepted into daycare full-time, which I was lucky enough to get a spot in the daycare on campus. So I did the commute across the city every day with a toddler on the transit bus. And it was so special. This experience was so very special because we both ended up growing up together on campus and we were being exposed to everything at the U of M had to offer. Once I was really comfortable on campus and in the final years of my science degree, I found out about a few opportunities that on campus that I didn't know about, like co-op or summer research, but I had too many credit hours for co-op, and my GPA wasn't high enough to be competitive for any sort of summer research grant, so I didn't get a chance to do any of these. So I was actually in my last year of my undergraduate degree, and I still had no clue of what I was going to do after I graduated in the spring. And I had become at this point, because I had been there for 7 years, very comfortable asking professors and instructors for help and clarification. I had so many wonderful professors that were always willing to engage and take the time to talk with me. And I would actively search for which courses they were teaching, and then I'd take them if I could. And this is kind of what guided me through university and how I got a biology degree, because that is what resonated with me. And these were the topics that I was developing the skills to be really good at. And Dr. Jeffrey Marcus was actually one of those many professors, and he later became my graduate student advisor for both my master's and my PhD. The day that really changed things for me was this day in the fall term of 2013 when he was actually on sabbatical, and I ran into him on the main floor of the Biological Sciences building, and he asked me what I was doing after I graduated. I told him honestly that I didn't know because I really didn't. I remember as if it was yesterday when he said to me, I really like the way you think. Can you send me your transcripts and then we can have a chat? So when we chatted or had our discussion, he asked me about grad school, what I thought about grad school, and if I would consider doing a master's, that he potentially had a project that I might like. And this conversation here changed everything for me. And it was honestly the first time I ever thought about grad school, or that this was even something that I could do, that this was possible for me. I had the best support system going through university, and I'm so grateful for everyone that was there for me to help with my son so that I could get through my studies. But I would never be where I am now today if it wasn't from someone outside of that support network that I had that realized and saw the potential that I had. My graduate GPA is great, but although my undergraduate GPA wasn't great, I still had the necessary GPA to enter grad school, but I wasn't competitive for any sort of funding sources like NSERC or university funding to help fund my graduate stipend. But Jeff took a chance on me anyways. So he paid for my stipend for most out of his grants for most of my my graduate degree programs. And it wasn't until way later when I was able to get some merit-based and not GPA-based awards that covered my stipend for a few years. So I've actually been given so many opportunities to develop new skills and taught how to apply them. So some of these opportunities that I was given and shown through graduate school were teaching assistant positions, the opportunity to go to conferences and present my research, field work, student mentorship at the graduate and undergraduate level. I actually got the chance to be a course instructor as a graduate student. I was in hiring committees. I was part of boards for student groups. I was part of planning committees for conferences. And I even got to attend some really cool workshops. And some of my favorite ones were some genetics based workshops at UCLA and the marine biological laboratories on Cape Cod. So I was kind of guided on and shown how to develop the skills I wanted and what I could pick and choose. And I kind of developed my own toolbox per se. When we're talking about graduate school, you're talking about what you want in your toolbox, what kind of skills do you want to develop. Um, and I had gone through and picked and was shown how I could pick and choose what might be very, very beneficial to me, and guided towards figuring out what I was really interested in. And I gained so many different skills and was encouraged to apply for everything. So I actually applied for an Indigenous scholar position in the Faculty of Science a few years ago. And I was shortlisted for this. And I wasn't even done my degree yet, which was a fantastic, fantastic experience. Although I didn't get the position, any of the positions, and that's totally okay. I ended up where I am now, working part of an amazing team, part of Wawatay. And I love my team. My team is fantastic. I was just so lucky, and I'm forever grateful for having a mentor that always encouraged me to do my best and to get out of my comfort zone and how to navigate the bad situations. But the most important thing that I think he taught me was to never give up. And I was so fortunate to have this encouraging environment where I had the chance to interact with many other amazing graduate and undergraduate students. And it's where I gained my confidence as a researcher and as a person. I kind of figure out who I was. I was always encouraged to learn. And when I asked questions, I was provided with guidance on how to find the answers myself, which is a skill that I have now, and it's the way that I use it when I'm teaching. And it helped me realize my own true potential. And it's an environment where I thrived. For me, mentorship was key to my success and to be where I am today. And I think it's such an important aspect in learning in the post secondary environment. So I strive every day to create the same kind of environment that I was lucky enough to have for all students that I encounter, whether it's our Wawatay scholars or as a sessional instructor teaching evolutionary biology, because I do what I love because of the students. I want to provide one that encouragement, that guidance, and show students where the opportunities are to actually help them develop and show them what they're actually capable of. And this is why working with Wawatay is so important to me. It's that so other students and specifically Indigenous students don't have to struggle through post-secondary education like I had. And they are presented with all of the tools and guidance and mentorship that they need right from the beginning of their university undergraduate degrees until they actually receive that degree and beyond.